CEO trapped on island with single dad. She whispered, "If we can't go back, must I marry you?" The private jet had been her sanctuary. Plush seats, chilled champagne, and the quiet hum of control. Evelyn Thorne, CEO of Viridian Global, was used to commanding boardrooms, not battling storms. But when lightning struck the wing over the Pacific, everything changed. The last thing she remembered was the pilot's panicked voice before darkness swallowed her whole. She awoke on white sand, salt crusting her lips, designer clothes torn and soaked. Panic clawed at her throat, until she saw him. A man knelt by a small fire, coaxing flames with steady hands. Beside him sat a boy no older than 6, wide-eyed and clutching a carved wooden bird. "Dad," the boy whispered, pointing at Evelyn. "She's awake." The man turned. His eyes were calm, weathered by sun and time, not spreadsheets and stress. "You're safe," he said simply. "For now." His name was Daniel Reyes. He'd been on a cargo ferry with his son, Leo, delivering medical supplies to remote islands when the same storm capsized their vessel. They'd washed ashore 2 days before Evelyn. While she'd been unconscious, Daniel had shared his meager rations, built her a shelter from palm fronds, and never once asked for thanks. Days turned into weeks. Evelyn, who once dictated mergers over caviar, now learned to crack coconuts with a rock. She watched Daniel teach Leo how to weave fishing nets from vines, how to read the clouds for rain, how to find fresh water in the heart of a bamboo stalk. He never complained, never boasted. He simply was, present, patient, kind. One evening, as the sun bled gold into the ocean, Evelyn found herself staring at Daniel's hands, rough, scarred, yet gentle as they braided a bracelet for Leo. "You're so good," she asked, her voice barely above the tide. He smiled faintly. "Not good, just trying. When you've got someone depending on you, you don't have the luxury of falling apart." She thought of her penthouse, her assistant who scheduled her breathing breaks, her life built on transactions, not trust. "I've never depended on anyone, and no one's ever truly depended on me." Leo tugged her sleeve. "You can depend on us," he said earnestly. "Dad says everyone needs a team." Something cracked inside her, a wall she didn't know existed. As weeks stretched into a month, rescue planes flew overhead but never landed. Hope began to fray. One night, a monsoon hit. Waves devoured half their camp. In the chaos, Evelyn slipped on the rocks, gashing her leg. Daniel carried her through the storm, shielding her with his body as rain lashed like whips. Back in the makeshift cave, he cleaned her wound with boiled seawater, his touch careful. "You're tougher than you look," he murmured. "And you're softer than you seem," she replied, meeting his gaze. Silence bloomed between them, not awkward, but full, like the island itself was holding its breath. Days later, food ran dangerously low. Daniel ventured farther inland for fruit and didn't return by dusk. Evelyn paced the shore, heart hammering, not for herself, but for him. For Leo, who clung to her hand, whispering, "Dad always comes back." When Daniel finally emerged from the trees at dawn, limping but alive, relief flooded her so fiercely it brought tears. That night, under a sky dusted with stars, she sat beside him by the fire. "Before all this, I thought love was a liability, a distraction from success. But watching you with Leo, you love without conditions, without expecting anything in return." Daniel looked at her, firelight dancing in his eyes. "Love isn't a transaction, Evelyn. It's a choice, every single day." She swallowed hard. What if we never get off this island?" He didn't flinch. "Then we build something real here, something that matters." Her breath hitched. The woman who negotiated billion-dollar deals couldn't find the words, so she leaned closer, her forehead almost touching his. and in the hush of the waves, she whispered the question that had haunted her dreams. "If we can't go back, must I marry you?" Daniel stilled. Then slowly he reached for her hand. "You don't have to," he said softly. "But if you want to, I'd be honored." Tears spilled down her cheeks, not from fear, but from freedom. For the first time, she wasn't Evelyn Thorne. She was just Evelyn. Seen, known, chosen. Weeks later, a Coast Guard helicopter spotted their signal fire. Rescue came. As they boarded the chopper, Leo squeezed Evelyn's hand. "Does this mean you're my mom now?" She looked at Daniel, who gave her a small, hopeful smile. "Only if she wants to be," he said. Evelyn knelt, brushing hair from Leo's eyes. "I think I've wanted to be for a long time." Back in the city, Evelyn didn't return to her old life unchanged. She sold her penthouse, downsized Viridian's excesses, and launched a foundation for single-parent families. Daniel and Leo moved into a quiet house by the sea, not because Evelyn bought it for them, but because they chose to build a home together. At their wedding, held barefoot on a beach, far gentler than the island that brought them together, Evelyn wore a simple linen dress. No diamonds, no entourage, just Leo as ring-bearer, and the man who taught her that true wealth isn't counted in bank accounts, but in moments of quiet courage, shared silence, and love that chooses you again and again. And when she whispered her vows, she added one only he could hear. "Thank you for showing me that sometimes getting lost is the only way to be found." If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to ACA Storytales for more cinematic, emotional journeys that remind us what truly matters. Thanks for watching.